Thanks for listening to this episode of Two Heels of Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, I was slightly thrown off by the Zoom lady. She seems to have changed her announcement that we're recording, Chris. Did you notice that? She changed her tune.
A little bit. I didn't notice as much, but then I get now this big pop-up on my screen saying that I do accept that I'm being recorded.
Oh, so you have to consent, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not here being recorded without my consent. I allowed it to happen in order for this episode to take effect. And here we are. A lot of wrestling, huh?
I would never want to force that on you. I would never want to force you to do anything, Chris.
Well, you have my consent.
Mm-hmm. Always, yeah. Only just I'll force you to answer my emails. That's all I'll force you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just giving you shit. Yeah, I had a sometimes it's sometimes they just get lost. Where do they go? In your inbox, like where it's a black hole.
I have about 4 email addresses going into one inbox. And
okay.
it's chaos. I actually I do have a system to be very organized, but lately my focus is in an entirely different inbox now. So it's like, do I merge those two again? Do I merge that one with the big one? Or so it's like, okay. So yeah, now when I look in there, it's like, oh, I'm 300 emails deep. I'm like, I'll sort through it eventually.
Yikes. And do you have your promotion emails? Like
I have a filter that just takes those out automatically to a different folder that I don't want to see.
So you just get 300. I think you need to unsubscribe to some lists or something.
It's a combination of old clients. So people are reaching out, and then there's there's definitely still some cleaning up that I got to do with some mailing lists and pro wrestling tees. Like they email every single email address in my book.
Yeah. Oh, so you get 4 pro wrestling tees emails
of do not miss out on our 20% sale.
Yeah. Funny thing, before we kind of jump into what this episode's all about. Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to the Pro Wrestling Tees crew. The list of people that we know who work there just keeps expanding. Now, Jeremy is a full-time employee there. Jeremy, really? The real Jeremy Zaha. Yeah. So him and I caught up a little bit this weekend. We went to a show, which we'll talk about, but he's warehouse manager, or that's what he said his title was, or some kind of shift manager, inventory manager. And I've seen I've seen Castro sentiment. I've seen Richard sentiment.
Castro's, I don't know if it was a Snapchat or a story or whatnot, where he's just hysterically crying, laughing. What was that Saturday night? Is every PWT employee at this time, where you have all these debuts and you're still not done with CM Punk orders.
Yep.
I could just imagine they're swamped, but I hear Punk buy some pizza once in a while. So
I think that they can they can do, I don't know how much overtime they can get, but they get paid for all their hours. It's just when it just feels so daunting when it's staring. Yeah, of course. It's staring at you in the face. It's it was just cracking me up. I was texting Jeremy. I was 3 debuts plus the Lucha Bros have new tag team championship shirts. I am just crying for you at this moment.
Shout out to those guys who also had their charity softball. I was in a tournament, but it wasn't a tournament. It was just a game.
Yeah, I heard they got spanked.
Went towards Paws. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But yeah, and then I saw a funny tweet where Daniel Bryan just came out in a white T-shirt.
My marketing brain right away is what the fuck is this about?
I know,
a white T-shirt. So then then I'm I'm over here getting all smart, and I'm oh well, maybe his contract with still T-shirt or WWE shop doesn't allow him to because I'm that is not a move that PWTs will do, where it's they're not going to debut somebody or know about a debut and not design them a shirt. So because it took them a day or two to then all of a sudden release the
one American came out
Dragon.
And Jeremy, the real Jeremy Zaha, was saying that they could probably sell that white shirt and put like something small in the corner, like AEW in the corner, and actually sell them.
And then BD on the sleeve, and that's it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Uh-huh. So yeah, just shout out to those guys. Probably working right now while we're recording. It's 8:46 on Wednesday night, and I'm sure they're in the warehouse.
Hard working fellas.
So why are we here? I see you're outdoors, right? Is that true?
Somewhat. I was outdoors this weekend for sure. I mean, the weather was nice.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Saturday there was a big concert in the Hispanic community, like this, like a group that your parents would listen to, but you just become so attached to that group because you would hear them Saturday mornings as they wake you up to clean the house or at parties. So this band is called Los Bookies. They are legendary. They broke up like at their peak, and they like 25 years later they're making a comeback tour. They sold out Soldier Field on Saturday and Sunday. Friday.
Damn, they're running Soldier.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Both nights. Yep. And I was actually trying to go. I wanted to go since I know I wasn't going to go to All Out. And yeah, that was nearly impossible to do.
How do you spell their name?
Los Bookies. LOS space Bookies is B.
Oh, I see it. No, BUKIS.
UKIS. Yes.
Okay.
Bookies. The main singer looks like Jesus Christ.
He does. He's got a Jesus, even his facial hair. Yeah. He really does. Well, who knows what Jesus Christ looks like? But yes, the how he's represented in American culture.
So I ended up just throwing up this inflatable big screen and the projector, and I told PBR Pedro and couple of buddies if they don't want to come through. We just had a couple beers and listened to the Bookies as they were playing on the big screen. So
do I know any of their songs? Like, are any of their songs mainstream or no?
I mean, they have like a bunch of mainstream songs, but I don't think you would know any.
Okay.
But yeah, like, so that's what I did Saturday, and then that gave me the idea of like, well, if I'm going to All Out, I might just throw up the screen again and do that. And I ended up just throwing up the screen, and I watched the show, and it was one heck of a show. Like I hadn't drank IPAs in a while, and I bought myself some IPAs. I was chilling in the backyard. The girls came out and sat with me.
The tiki torches going for the bugs.
Yeah, for sure. And also as the night progressed, also turned on the fire pit. So
wow, it sounds like a setup.
Night. Yeah, it ended up turning out pretty well. Actually, I'm like, since I was there by myself, I ended up I was gonna tell Alan, our friend, to come over. And he answers and he's like, "Oh, you're already here, bro?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, you're not coming to All Out?" I'm like, "No, I was actually gonna call you, see if you wanted to drop by the house, but."
Oh, he was there.
He's like, "Yeah, he was already over there." I was like, "Oh, you bastard, you didn't say anything." But yeah, man, it was good. It was a good time. I definitely, weather was nice enough to allow that to happen, since we've been having a lot of rain here and there. But yeah, like, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. But before we even get to All Out, like, we saw each other Friday night.
Yes, you saw each other Friday night, and I'm going to just say this right now before I forget. I know the opening song that we should do. It's a Mark Anthony song. It's Angel Escalera's theme. It's
Mi Vida or something.
Yeah, Vivir Mi Vida.
Vivir Mi Vida.
What does Vivir mean?
La. Vivir means to live my life.
Oh, okay. Yes, it does. Yes, that should be our opening song.
I'm down with that. I actually got to say hi to Scalera. I missed this match though on Friday night.
Right, that was the first thing that we saw. That's why I wanted to, make this segue. So yeah, we finally got to watch the show together in person. It's been a bit, right?
Yeah.
I
think since maybe that first closed door show for Freelance.
Yeah, a little bit of it has been COVID. A little bit of it has been me. But
same here. I mean, I haven't gone to many shows either.
Yeah. Well, how come no one mentions that, huh?
Because no one has been to shows. Nobody's been consistent.
Yeah. Well, there's people in that group chat that we're in that probably would say they've been.
I mean, Hank, but he, rings the bell and does crazy things over there. So, but yeah, I haven't been consistent at shows either. So, I'll get a pass for a little bit, but eventually I'll start getting shit, and then they'll say that it's a green screen when I'm actually at the show.
That was funny. Yeah. But yeah, we were there. Freelance, No Place Like Home. Took place on September 3rd in Hoffman Estates. Yeah, the Grand Sports Arena.
So when I got there, so I had never been there, but I recognized that that's where the so there's an indoor semi-pro indoor soccer league. And I know the Mustangs because they actually brought over a really famous soccer player to play with them for, I believe, 2 seasons. Mexican soccer player, and it's indoor is very different than playing outdoor soccer.
Sure.
So I always wanted to go out there to like at least see him play once. I never got to do that, but once I got there, I'm like, oh, this is the place where he played.
Okay.
And now it turned into a wrestling arena.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna. It served its purpose. It was fine. It was a great arena. There was a lot of space to move. It was a little run down, but it gets the job done. Shit, like there was a lot of standing room. If you wanted to spread out, if you felt comfortable doing that. But we were chilling in the bleachers, the cheap seats. Can't complain though. And yeah, I don't know. That's the first thing we heard. So that's what popped into my head. I was like, and I had that song stuck. I had Angela Scalera's song stuck in my head the entire weekend. And
it's a catchy song. Yeah.
The crowd, it is a nice opening song because the crowd, it puts life into the crowd. It breathes life into the crowd. And then he just comes out dancing. It was a hot opener. You need an opener that just like ignites everyone, I guess I'll read off. We can read off the results and then we can just like talk about stuff that stuck out to us.
Okay.
Devin, Monroe, and Angela Scalera, right, picked up the win against Pick and Pop, which is Code Hernandez and Darius Luttrell.
Okay, and is this so do you know if this name is this tag name, is it new? Is it something they debuted, or do you know if they've been using it before? The Pick and Pop.
I don't. This is the first time I've heard it, so I'm getting these results from pwponderings.com. I didn't take notes because I wanted to be more focused on the action. So I wasn't doing my usual note taking. And then like in between matches, I would just tweet stuff. And also we were like chugging Modelos. We had a decent amount of Modelos or like a few. Like we could have had more.
Being
responsible. And Kike bought us one. Shout out to him. And then after that, it was Trevor Outlaw defeating Effy, which that's a match I want to talk about. Okay. Kevin Blackwood defeating Storm Grayson, Cole Radrick defeating Jordan Oliver, Chris Castro and the Bang Bros. The return of Chris Castro defeating Billy Starks, Marcus Mathers, and Alfonso Gonzalez. No DQ match between Shane Mercer and Craig Mitchell. Shane Mercer actually ended up picking up the win there. And then MDK Hausen defeats the almost offensive-less team of Frank the Clown and GPA.
Where do you want to start?
So, Trevor Outlaw, Effy. I think it was, although Trevor had to cheat. It's just the standard stuff. And he ripped another person's sign. So I think we need to update our invoice. First of all, the money he owes us is late. Yep. So I think we maybe put like must pay by 90 days. It's been longer than that. So that late fee is just duplicating.
Way too long. And yeah, like this was definitely a match. I think anybody that's been, part of the Freelance faithful at least, or nowadays, like a lot of people know of Trevor Outlaw. Like he's been getting around. And then having an having an opponent like Effy, I think that just calls out, like a must see match.
And we've seen these two wrestle before. So this was the rematch. Is that what you were gonna get at? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, and also like adding that layer of this is a rematch. So I mean, I walked in the middle of this match. So this is when I got to the show, and I was surprised at Outlaw picking up the win here. But like you said, I mean, he had to cheat, he had to get on those ropes and pull the pin. So I don't know. I don't know what that says for Outlaw going forward. Like, is he gonna keep getting, because he's been getting, a lot of big names to go up against.
Yeah, he's wrestled Colt Cabana. I think it shows personal growth. It's just he's growing towards just becoming a bigger D-bag, a bigger cheater, and growing towards the dark side. He's getting closer to Emperor Palpatine instead of he's growing in the direction we don't want him to grow. But I mean, losing Effy the first time and then beating Effy the second time, he did it. You can't fault his effort. And honestly, I'll say a nice thing about Trevor Outlaw is that he cuts a promo before every match and puts it on social. It honestly never fails. And it's something simple that literally every wrestler can do, and every wrestler doesn't do it. So I'm just like, once again, like, we're not wrestlers. We have a different medium that where we tell stories and talk and laugh with people. But like, why can't he set a standard for himself? I feel like he's doing that. And no matter every wrestler could do that if they wanted to.
He could be in an alley. He could be in his own backyard. He could be outside of an arena. Like he utilizing the medium of quick promos that help him, build stories, build his character.
It really helps build his character.
Yeah. So yeah, that's shout out to him on that. But we can move on. We don't want to talk about
let's not talk about it for too long. No. So Storm Grayson is just like a full-blown shoot fighter now, or at least like he he has that feel. I'm kind of sad he lost, because it would be cool to see him gain some winning momentum. Once again, it's wrestling, but if I'm going to buy into the product, and Storm's picking up all these wins, I think it would help him. But he's just straight up, like, he's just wrestled Lee Moriarty, wrestled this Kevin Blackwood guy who seemed really good. This is my first time seeing him, I think, or hearing about him.
Shout out to Lee Moriarty, who just got a contract with AEW.
Shout out. He deserves every bit of it. But like, he's chaining with these people. He's striking with these people. He'll do his
kicks. His kicks are good.
Yeah, exactly. He'll do this cool blue thunder bombs. So he's, Michael Cole probably loves it. He loves calling out modified blue thunder bombs. That's his thing. But he hasn't lost like his wrestling. It's still there. But like, he just mixed in a lot of chaining and a lot of striking and a lot of ground stuff. And yeah, I think he has more of an identity now, because if you look at the card, they're really, unless you're bringing in someone who's like, would wrestle for Freelance Underground, but wrestles in a bunch of independents, there isn't a person like that. That is just like, they don't have like a Matt Fitchett where it's just like, or like a Gulak where it's like, this guy's going to chain you. This guy's going to like, slow the match down, technical. Like a ZSJ. Yeah. Something like that. So he's like, I'm not saying he's on that level yet, but like, he has an identity. I would say,
now. I mean, I think that also like technical style sometimes comes out of Radrick, which we'll talk about next.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I mean, his presence is completely different than Radrick, right? Radrick is a much smaller guy. He's, Storm is tall and super muscular now. Like, he just looks like, he's getting in better shape every time I see him. So, yeah, like I think the word that we used last time around was consistent. He's been consistent. He's been growing. He's been showing his skills, and I like it. I like the way he's developing his character.
Exactly. Yeah. And did you have thoughts on that Cole Radrick, Jordan Oliver?
I mean, Jordan Oliver, I've seen him a few times, and I think I mentioned to you at the show that I think I've seen him at AAW. But Cole Radrick, another guy that he just, every time he goes out there, no matter if he's wrestling, multiple times that night, like, he goes out there and gives it 110%. Like I just feel like he's like always like when he finishes his matches, like, yep, everything was left in the ring.
Yeah. He's all gas, no brakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Just like, which is ironic too, because he's a huge fan of the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt Sr. May he rest in peace. Which is my dad is a huge NASCAR. I've never got into NASCAR, but my dad was a huge NASCAR fan and I had a bunch of Earnhardt shit in my house growing up because of my dad. Like tons of Earnhardt to Good Wrench #3 stuff that just like posters and shit that was just like in the basement. Like I didn't buy any of it, but like he loves that. He loves Earnhardt Sr. And what was I getting at? Oh yeah, NASCAR, no brakes, all go. He models his style after a NASCAR race, basically.
Well, if you want to talk about all gas, no brakes, Davey Bang and the Bang Bros partnering up with Chris Castro in this upcoming match against Billy Starks, Marcus Matthews, and Alfonso Gonzalez. So Alfonso Gonzalez, second time I see him. I had never seen him before. But he I don't know if I can speak much on that taping, but I seen him recently, and he's a funny guy in the ring. I won't
funny
say much
how, huh? Funny how, like a clown.
No, not quite Frank the Clown.
Okay.
So he's not a coward, but he is very he likes to talk a lot of crap while he's outside in the ring, but then inside the ring, and he gets chopped, it'll be the loudest scream you ever hear in a match. So like that type of funny stuff. But I gotta say, I do like this pairing of the Bang Bros and Castro.
The Bang Bros I can't speak to like what's been taped versus what's been aired, so I won't. But let's just say there's something about the Bang Bros this night that just looked right. I think you know what that is.
Yep.
They just looked right this night, and whatever they were wearing on them, it was like, yes, that fits 100%. And then Chris Castro, I talked to him briefly. He brought the energy. I think he had like a lot of pent up, like I haven't been wrestling in a while energy, and like him and Craig this night were actually like they were emoting a lot more. They're very vocal than they usually are. I don't know if you noticed that too, but Chris Castro had a fire in him.
Yeah, for like that's, I mean, and you know, again, one of hardworking guys at PWTs, still streaming, you know, on a weekly basis, and you know, wrestling. So he has a full calendar of things to do and interact with if you want to see some Chris Castro.
Yep, I think he was twitching. You can just go to the PWT warehouse and you can find him exhausted and asleep on the floor. There's also that. Yeah. So if you want to interact with him, he's out there. And we owe him a shirt.
Which I forgot in my house. I was supposed to take that day.
It's all good, man. I forgive you.
So no DQ match: Shane Mercer versus Craig Mitchell. I mean, Shane Mercer is just a different species. They
tried to pick up the bleachers, bro, but they were connected.
Yeah, these were connected bleachers that were like 20 feet long. Like if he would have done that, like he would have had to pick me up because I was on the other side.
He didn't even test it before the match because he made like Sports Center, right, for picking up the bleachers at one time. But he didn't even test it beforehand because he tried to do it, but there's two sets of wooden bleachers that were connected to each other. So he tried to do it and then he couldn't do it because it's just that's just way too heavy. But like, you would think he would have like tested that before the match, or maybe he did and that was still part of like the act. But
the fact that he still did that moonsault it's a moonsault. It's not a fallaway slam. It's a moonsault off of the, you know, I think
with someone in your arms.
Rope.
It's a moonsault with someone in your arms.
Craig Mitchell. He's not a light boy, you know?
No, he's not. Craig Mitchell got thrown like into the hockey sideline, like into the penalty box, like over the, you know, they you could tell like some of it's a hockey rink because they have like the.
Yep, it's the indoor soccer field.
Or like yeah, that could be indoor soccer walls. Sorry, yeah. And I think hockey when I think that, but he got thrown over that into like a bin, and I thought he was seriously injured.
Yeah, Yeah, like Craig took a beating. He also had some offense, but Shane Mercer is not human.
No, this was the Haas fight. This was the Hulk versus the Red Hulk. That's a Marvel reference, but I'm really in the Marvel. So when I saw right now, I mean, more so than ever, but when I saw the No Place Like Home, I thought of like, I think the Spider-Man, I said this, Spider-Man movie is called No Way Home. I said this last time we talked. I'll shut up. But this is the Hulk versus Thanos, basically, is what this match was.
Yeah. And then MDK Hausen. So this was scheduled to be Kylie Ray and Danhausen? No. Kylie Ray and Nick Gage versus Frank the Clown.
It's supposed to be MD Kylie.
Yeah.
And no, it's versus Frank the Clown and Ego.
Oh, it was Ego.
Yes.
Okay.
As I was
someone
on Twitter, because we don't know facts or anything, and we don't have any details correct or names. Someone on Twitter politely corrected me, and I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Nice. Well,
yes.
I mean, we also got a great match by Danhausen and an appearance by Nick Gage.
So, yes, credit to Nick Gage. Obviously, he loves Chicago. He loves the Chicago gang. He loves the energy that we bring. We love him. I don't know how you can hate the guy. Like, you just really can't hate the guy, because you see so much energy and passion in him, and it's just like, it's really, and he's a good dude too. If you just talk to him, like, he's an intimidating guy, but if you just go up and talk to him, like, he's a good dude. But this was credit to them, because like, this wasn't the original pairing, right? So earlier in the night, Frank the Clown came out to say whatever he says, and Danhausen like came out and briefly cursed him, and then told him like, actually, this is what's going on, MDK Hausen. So they put this together like in a few hours, I'm assuming. The match wasn't incredibly long, but it was everything a main event needed to be. The crowd was into it from start to finish. GPA and Frank the Clown were like retreating out of the ring on into this open space, because I said there was a lot of space when Nick Cage got tagged in, which was really, really funny. And GPA deserves, obviously, the main event. I can't believe I just said that, but you know what I mean. And somehow they got enough offense in to make it feel like they were winning at one point. And then Nick Cage got tagged in, and it was just over from there. But they did this wasn't the scheduled match, but it's still, it wasn't like your indie banger, high spot. It didn't need to be, because like, there's other elements of entertainment in here. There's like laughter and comedy, and like all that shit was in this one.
So yeah, if you were able to, what do they say, suspend disbelief or whatever, like, this was it was a great, entertaining match, and it was well fitted for a main event. So I was happy with that outcome.
Absolutely. The crowd went home happy, I think, after that one.
The crowd got kicked out happy.
Yes,
so they had to clear the space, because they had 3 Cup stuff. The GCW and BLP were running a show after this. So I'll use this transition to say that, we both, like, I we're talking, and I'm like, oh, I think our friend Wrestling Buddies, Ryan, he's in Chicago. Like, let me, chat him up, see if he's in the audience somewhere. So I do so, and he's like, no, I can't make it, but I'll be at the next show. Are you staying? I'm like, nope, wasn't planning on. Next message I get is him sending me a ticket. It's like, stay, I'll be right there. So I was like, okay, I wasn't planning on staying for the next show.
He purchased the ticket for you.
But he purchased the ticket for me. And so,
what a good guy.
Such a good guy, Ryan. And I got to say, the night took a turn, not a bad way, but so
no turn is bad. It could take a left turn. You could take a right turn. Yeah.
So, I'm like, well, I'm there a little longer. I had to wait for the show to start. Talking to a few people, got to catch up with Gringo. And because I had that interaction with Gringo, and we're talking about kids and family and stuff, later that night, Juice comes up to, I said Juice. Okay.
I knew who I could literally in my head. I was like, Juventud Guerrera is going to come into the story.
Juventud Guerrera comes up to me, and he's like, like, hey, who do you work for? And I'm like, no, I don't work for anybody. But how can I help you? Like, I was speaking to him in Spanish. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he speaks English, of course, but and I figured he wanted to talk to somebody. So I'm like, oh, like, how can I help you? And he's like, oh no, 'cause I saw you talking to Gringo, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know Gringo, and a couple people here, but what's up? And he's like, okay, here's my phone. Can you just record my match? And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, your whole match? And he's like, the whole match, or if my phone starts running out of battery, just my highlights. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you, bro. He's like, okay, I'm up next. And then I realized where I'm at. And I mean, it was a packed house, and I'm not that tall.
No, you're not.
So how am I gonna record Juice's match?
He did not pick the correct person.
I'm standing next to Ryan, like the tallest guy in the
did Ryan
the whole
record
place. It? No, so I ended up asking. I asked around the merch table if I can stand on a chair to record. So I
did he get? Did he? Don't you don't have to say it on air. Did he give you his passcode though to like get into his phone?
No, he's like, just swipe this way, and
okay.
And that's how you get to the camera. And that's
what's he rocking with? What kind of phone does he have?
It's a big Samsung Android phone. Like, okay. I don't know what kind of.
Did you get any text messages while you're recording? Like,
no, but his phone was gonna die. Like, it was not gonna make it throughout the whole match.
It wasn't. So were you trying to just get his
so
spots?
I'm getting his spots, and unfortunately, like, what the match was insane. By the way, it was I don't even know how many luchadors. It was Gringo. It was
let me look it up. Two cups stuff.
It's 3 cup stuff.
Is it 3? Oh, it's 3 cup stuff.
3 cup stuff.
Oh, because the other one was 2.
I guess. And like it had, I'm forgetting his name. Laredo Kid. It had Aries. It had
Gringo Loco, Aries. They won, defeated. Spoiler alert! Sorry if you haven't seen the show. Defeated Juventud Guerrera, Kamikaze, Laredo Kid, ASF, Dragonbane, El Hijo de Canis Lupus.
Canis Lupus.
It's a lot of lucha.
So, yeah, a lot of lucha. Hijo de Canis Lupus is somebody that Steve from Warrior kind of told us a little bit about, where like Phoenix endorsed him as like the next, greatest luchador or whatnot to come up. And this is the first time I get to see him live. I have seen a couple of his matches, but seeing him live, like all these guys did such a great job. But unfortunately, Juventud ended up on the last dive. He ended up hurting himself. So I don't know if he rolled his ankle, twisted his ankle.
Oh shit.
So that was unfortunate. Because at the end, like he couldn't even finish the match. So at the end, when they take that picture in the ring with people throwing money at them, like Juventud Guerrera wasn't there. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, I ended up, recording some of his stuff, and nice. Like it was something that I was not expecting on doing. And it was a great show. So then I'm like, I mean, there were several matches that were great, but I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to give it until 1 o'clock. If this show's not over at 1, I got to go, because it's another hour plus drive home. And I got to be up early. I got kids.
I got kids. I need this job.
So yeah, I'm looking at the time, and then I'm like, yeah, I think the last match that I watched was the title match, which was Jake something versus help me out. Who you're looking at the screen? Effy.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So watch that, and then like we're in a crowd, and then the next match is kind of like the main event, and of course, Nick Gage is the last one to come out, and so somebody in the crowd, like, I don't know if they heard me that I told Ryan that I was leaving or something, but they're like, you want to wait for a GCW Nick Gage entrance. And I was like, okay.
Where he like moshes with everyone, right?
Yeah, and I was, because I was right by the entrance too, because that's where I was waiting for Juventud to give him his phone, and sure enough, like that's an experience like where if you're there, like it's crazy. Like it reminded me of those like back in the day Champa entrances where the whole crowd is involved. Super cool. But yeah, I just waited for that entrance and then I had to go. So unfortunately I couldn't stay for the main event. But
Man, you really had such adrenaline rush walking out of there.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I gotta take this adrenaline rush so I don't fall asleep on my way home.
Yeah, no, that was smart of you.
But yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
There was actually a match after that. It was a light tubes and panes of glass death match after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If this is in order, it looks like it probably is. I'm on wrestling-news.net.
Well, I believe that site because I wasn't there, so they could tell me whatever.
Yeah, that it looks like an insane show. Yes, 3 cup stuffed. I think it's because they did 2 cup stuff the year before, like 2 years ago or something like that. Since three cup, I might be wrong. 3 cup stuff, and yeah, that one looks. We can link that one too. We'll probably link all the, if you haven't seen any of these shows, link the Fight TV.
Yeah.
The Round Fight TV. We can link that in the article on twoheelsandface.com. But obviously, if you have seen them, I hope you're enjoying our commentary. If you disagree or agree, or you can even just tweet us anything, except nothing raunchy or disgusting. At the number 2 Heels and a Face on Twitter to discuss even further. That wasn't all the wrestling, though, was it?
No, because next night or next brunch hour?
It was Sunday morning.
Sunday morning was your brunch?
Yes.
Okay,
they had McDonald's breakfast burritos. They were cold, but I still had some, which is fine. They had McDonald's breakfast. They had like egg McMuffins, sausage McMuffins. No, I agree. But they had pastries, but all the money that you bought for food, not the we had mimosas too, but all the money you bought for food was donated to LGBTQ charity.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that gave me an incentive to just eat more. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take the cinnamon bun. It was like 2 for $5 or like 5 or 2 for $5. So you paid $5. You got 2.
It was 5 for 2.
Yeah. I got a brownie. I shared that. I went with the real Jeremy Zaha. He wanted to go to the show. I like watching wrestling with the real Jeremy Zaha. And the show had
did you get an update on What Do You Like podcast?
Yeah, he said
taking a break.
He's taking a break.
2's coming up.
He's taking a break. Yeah, he said it was becoming a chore for him, and then he started to dislike it. He likes the podcast a lot, but it was just like, I think he had a lot going on with life. So then it was like, oh, now I have to do this, and it feels like a second job. Whenever that starts happening, you need to stop. I think we've talked about that many times. Whenever that starts happening, and then you have ill contempt for your hobby, and then it's just like downhill from there, and then you hate the stuff that's supposed to bring you joy, which is never good. So yeah, I got an official What Do You Like podcast. He's taking a break. He said he's going to start recording and build up a bunch of episodes, and then just
something in the can.
Yeah. So, and then because I think it just. What was taking him so long? Maybe it was like the editing that was taking. There was some part of it that was taking him very long. I think it was editing.
Okay.
So I feel like if he has like 8 or 9 done, he can be like, okay, this is the official restart, and then he's got, he's always ahead then of his production because he's always got one in the hopper. But yeah, so this show. Because we went to a Big A brunch in October 2020, right? You and I.
Yep.
Which was a fun show. It had Pero winning even though he's a bear, it had him winning the Twink Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So this kind of followed up on some of that. So the show had a surprisingly high work rate, and may sound bad. That's no offense to anyone on the show, but like the show can be a little gimmicky at times. Like, there was the Twink Gauntlet and Pero just kind of destroyed everyone. But like literally every match had like, it just felt like a wrestling match. It didn't really feel like like there was a drag host, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I have a newfound appreciation for drag over these past couple of years. Not Effy hasn't really. Effy's contributed that to a little bit, but like I've seen drag in other places. So that made it feel that, and it being daytime and the breakfast and the mimosas, it had a very good brunch vibe. But then like Jossie and Ace Perry were like crushing each other in the ring. Like it did, like the pro wrestling part of it did not slouch at all. It was even more than I expected. There was like they were going at it really hard. Like Jossie, I know we've seen him before, frontman Jossie or frontman Ja. I know we've seen him at Freelance before, but I feel like he's leveled up. He's leveled up like 5 levels because he looks fitter, he looks stronger. I don't know, maybe it's just the first time seeing him in a singles match, but him and Ace Perry tore it the fuck up. Pero defeated someone named Jordan Blade. And Pero then, so the cool thing at the end was they built Pero up to be a big heel. He's built into this big heel now because he's a giant human being. The main event, Jake Atlas saw the return of Jake Atlas on the Indies, which is really cool because he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He and Effy had a great match, and then Pero came out and beat the fuck, I think, out of both of them, especially Effy, and challenged Effy and said all this shit. So
setting up the next show, huh?
Yeah, that's setting up the next show. So Pero, so they've really built Pero into a force.
Okay.
And so I think that will be that'll be like a match on the next, if they do a next Big Gay Brunch. So it's cool that they kind of joined them together a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The one we saw and the one that happened here. So
cool. Were there any other shows that outside of the Big Gay Brunch after that, or no? Right? Because then it was like, well, they had like side parties and all that stuff, getting ready for All Out.
I mean, GCW's War Games show, I heard Art of War Games, was just insane. Like they keep outdoing themselves, but I haven't watched it. I've seen some stuff on Twitter, on the Twitter machine. But so I would check that out as well if you're still not done. After you watch Freelance, after you watch Effy's Big Gay Brunch, after you watch BLP, if you're still not done, watch that one. That's just what I've heard. That's what I saw. Two Juice at Brunch, and he was telling me that he's like stuff he's never seen before. And Two Juice has been in the game for a bit.
You've seen it all.
Yes, he's a father to many.
Quick takes about All Out. You watched it, and I watched it too. So surprise, we didn't even communicate about Sunday and watching the show. It was just, for me, it was one of those things like, I guess I am home, I'm gonna watch it, and I told you let me just do the big screen in the backyard. But did you actually plan on watching this ahead of time?
Well, I think it helped a little bit too because the next day we were off.
Yeah.
So I could enjoy it a little bit more, I think, and not, I didn't have to wind down Sunday night. And I didn't have the Sunday scaries watching it, which was nice. I had the Monday night scaries. But I got a couple friends that are trying to get me in the AEW a little bit more, and I knew I kind of want to watch Sting still.
I was like, if Sting didn't bring you in,
I just don't think the man should wrestle.
I mean, like, he's done a few matches now, right?
Yeah. He's not going to be like, tearing it up with Adam Cole in there, but it's just when I see him wrestle, it's fine. It's fun. It brings a smile to my face, but it's just like, I don't know. He should just go like full manager role, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just really get better at, like, he's been a decent he's been a solid promo always, but I still think even like Prime Sting, there was a little bit room to grow there. He could cut like one promo basically. Well, as Crow Sting, he didn't need to talk. That was cool. Obviously he's not doing that now. I think he had like a promo style, which was like fiery and yelling it in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be cool to see him expand that a little bit and just like kind of manage Darby, which he kind of does now, but he'll get into altercations with people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really enjoyed All Out. I think that the main event, by the time the main event came around, I was like exhausted, like emotionally exhausted.
I mean, I mean, no credit or credit, I don't know. That Big Show match versus QT Marshall, like placed at that hour, it was definitely like
that was supposed to cleanse your palate, I think.
It kind of felt like, okay, guys, you can go take a bathroom break. Like, I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but no, like just with such high caliber matches back to back, and then that being inserted there, it just felt like, now you're gonna do the Big Show like that. But I'm like, that's been his role, I guess.
But yeah, that's all. I think that's all he's got right now, to be honest, is that match.
Oh yeah, I mean, Alan was saying that it's like
his knees are bending.
His knees are not. Yeah.
when he's walking down the ramp, his knees are like he's got like pigeon knees. Like, you know, it's just like I feel like he's gonna snap.
Yeah, but I for sure like watching that. So first I made fun of it. You know, the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks again in Chicago again.
Sure, right? That's fair.
You know, I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, like they'll put on a great show. If you're in the crowd, I'm like, you're gonna be amazed. For me, knowing that I was gonna be at home, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch another Young Bucks Lucha Bros match. I don't know. These guys just make magic and make me forget that I've seen them several times.
Yeah, they do make magic.
It was amazing. And then so I'm sitting there with Carla. Carla's watching the match too. And then at the end when they win, I don't know if you know, it's like Pentagon is like signaling somebody to come in, or like waving them in. But the camera's not moving away from him, so it's weird. So then eventually they pan over to Phoenix, who's already in the ramp. But then they pan back to Penta. He's still outside the cage, and he's like telling his daughters to come in to give him a hug because they were crying. And it reminded me of that Noelle Foley and Mick Foley match where she's like super little and watching, Mick Foley getting beat up by The Rock, where she's crying.
yes, I saw that. Okay.
So like it, like to me, like that was like, oh shit, it's very similar. Like they're crying, they're upset, that is all bloodied up and gives them a hug and they go back to their seats happy or whatnot. And as he's making his way to the ramp, and then Carter's like, I think I'm about to cry. I'm like, stop. I'm like, I'm over here all like hyped up and shit. Like, cause it really like these guys who, started getting their fame out of Lucha Underground and definitely did their work in AAA and just seeing their progression and getting to this point where like they're signed with AEW, everybody was happy, but nothing had really been done with them, right? Like they've only been taking losses against the Young Bucks, in Mexico against the Young Bucks, Escalera de la Muerte, like all these like matches. And now they finally get, their shot and they end up champions, and like their social media was full of like they were super happy, like like any other other person that would win the world title, this was for them the world title.
Right. Yeah, I think they've done so much, but there's still things on their their resume that they could fill in. I think
at any point, like they could always be Lucha Bros and they could go their own ways, and either we've always talked about like they could always come back and bump heads and give us magic. We know that's going to happen eventually.
I can watch those two wrestle any day of the week,
or they can split up their own ways. And then then is when I think when they do, if they do, that's when Phoenix is really gonna get everyone's attention.
You think? Because I feel like Penta's always been the more popular one.
Yeah, of course. Like Penta is a whole lot of character.
Yes.
But I think if you let Phoenix run on his own, like he is, to me, he's like, however people think of Kenny Omega being the best right now, like I think that's Phoenix. Like he just needs to have the spotlight on him.
Yeah. No, I think they can get there because when I said I would watch them wrestle any day of the week, I meant them wrestle each other.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
I know what you meant. I didn't specify, but like some of their matches together are some of my favorite matches of them.
They toured the entire United States wrestling each other.
Right.
And they would sell out everywhere they would show up.
Yeah, exactly. That could be a goal of theirs. Obviously, you can have that on a bigger scale. This is the biggest. This is the biggest most amount of eyes, biggest stage that they've been at.
Yeah,
like eyes on the product. So there's so it's like if people haven't seen all their other stuff, you could do a singles feud with them, which they'll crush. And I mean, they had a national title or a world title they've held in different promotions, but a world title here is something that could be on their checklist. So that's cool. They still have things to accomplish. They're still not done. They'll never be done. Hopefully they take care of themselves. There was only one off the cage bump, and it was a crossbody. So I was just like, I feel like Phoenix is capable of a lot more, but I didn't need him to do that, because the match was already crazy. So I was like, okay, that's a nice and safe as it's going to get kind of thing. And that was spectacular. So I don't want him killing himself out there. I also like that they got rid of the leave the cage stipulation. Did you notice that?
Oh, that you can leave the cage to win.
Yeah, they got rid of it. Well, I don't know if they always have been doing that. Once again, like I'm just kind of getting back into AEW, but
in this match specifically, the fact that they were like contained in this cage, that was a cool aspect of it.
Yeah. I just think it's stupid because like it's just a dumb. We've talked about this before. Either leaving the cage or even the door. It's just like it's so hard to make that look realistic. There's so many opportunities for you to run out that door, run up the cage, and just win. And the cage just became a weapon, basically, in this match. And they used it perfectly. So you just need a pinfall or submission. So I think, and then the CM Punk match. Well, first off, let me say that Britt Baker is very much improved since her time on the Indies. I don't know if you got that impression. She's a lot better. Because I was texting some friends and I was just like, I don't know, man. Britt Baker was never really over with me on the Indies, and like I was just never blown away by her.
Yeah,
but she looks a lot. That match was very solid. She looks a lot better. I wanted Thunder Rosa to win
This was Thunder Rosa's moment. Like as much as I love, Ruby Riott, Heidi Lovelace, Ruby Soho, like it was a great opportunity for her to come back. But I feel like somebody else could have taken her out, and then she would have started the feud with somebody else. But this, to me, I'm like, I felt a little like, like Thunder Rosa was robbed here. Like this was her chance.
Yeah. I know, that's how my heart feels. Isn't that like how your heart feels?
Yeah,
like she was robbed. Yeah. And Chicago just they loves her, and she has such a strong love for Chicago. So I mean, obviously Ruby does too. Yeah. So I don't want to take away any of that. She has history here as well. So a lot more history probably on the independent scene, but Thunder Rosa's wrestled in the Indies a lot here too. So,
and it's one of the ones that like, okay, Ruby already had her shot, I guess, in the big leagues or whatever. And she's there now. She's part of that, common factor of people that, have been signed. Rosa has not had that kind of like big break, and her carving her path to AEW now, it feels that way. And for her to be so close and be taken away, like that's why I guess it's like what your heart wants versus what the booker says.
No, you're so right. This felt like the big break she's earned, but it didn't happen. So you're 100% right. And then so the Punk Darby Allin match was also, it was slightly overshadowed by the cage match, but it was honestly like just as good, I think.
Did you see the comparison or the homage to 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bret Hart?
I did. I noticed the initial spot. I noticed the spot with where he does the arm drag and the person's like surprised by it.
That like, he keeps it locked in.
Yes. I noticed that spot and I was like, okay, that's from that match. But there was even like 3 or 4 more that Twitter pointed out that I didn't know. They did a really cool job. I'm sure GPA was popping for that since he's a huge Bret Hart mark. But at first, the Punk Darby Allin matchup seemed really random. Did it seem random to you? Like, why of all these people, this is the first person to wrestle Punk, or no?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could think about it that way, but I think for me, from the moment I knew that was potentially going to happen, was when Darby Allin cuts that promo, and I just happened to be watching Dynamite live during that time.
Okay, so I missed that. So what did he say?
So he cuts a promo. He's with Sting in the back. He's just cutting a promo about something else, and he's like, I've beat a lot of people here, and I have more people to beat, even those who call themselves the best in the world.
Okay.
So that was Darby saying, like, hinting at like Punk is coming.
So even before
by him saying that line, that's when then United Center gets sold out immediately after that.
Okay. So that makes sense. But even before he says that, if you're just put your smart hat on for a second, like if you're be like, okay, I own AEW, I'm Tony Khan, I'm bringing in CM Punk out of this whole roster, he could feud with so many people. Like Darby Allin seemed at the time very random, did it not?
It could, like, you had other options.
Yeah.
But also I think like if they already had, like, if you want me to put that smarky fedora,
I mean, not you don't have to glue it to your head, but
no, but it's like, you already had, like, who do you want to, Punk go against, right? Just with the mic, you could have MJF.
Yeah,
but they already had that program leading with Jericho.
Sure,
so you're not going to steer away from that.
I guess Darby was free, and he's probably
and Darby's been making him make, like, the little bit that I've seen, consistently of AEW is that, Darby is your main. It's a main event guy.
Okay,
like they've been playing him that way.
Okay, maybe it's just my lack of AEW knowledge that
maybe, but
it feels more.
If I was with you, where I'm not watching consistently or not paying much attention, it would feel random.
Okay. So I just want to say that I had a little bit of randomness going into this match, but like it completely delivered. And by the end of the match, I was like 100% Darby Allin should have wrestled CM Punk that night, like 100%. So I'm trying to say is what my initial thought was. I was proven completely wrong because Darby Allin just makes any match better. And it was almost like CM Punk was kind of laughing at his like crazy diving antics. It's like, you don't need to do all this. Like,
yeah.
So I'm reading this. I have this article in front of me, but BleacherReport.com. The Lucha Brothers match was an A+. This was an A rated. So they were like right there with each other, I think. And then by that, I was emotionally drained, and I honestly barely watched the main event. I was so exhausted.
I don't recall much of the main event, but obviously you think about that main event and you think about how the show wrapped up, right? Where Adam Cole comes out and then Daniel Bryan comes out, or Bryan Danielson.
That's so much what you remember too. You remember the cage match, Punk's return, and then the debuts at the end.
Right.
And everything. The main event's kind of overshadowed.
And I honestly, like, I don't know if you got to watch the match that Christian and Kenny Omega had at one of the Dynamite shows, like the one previous to this one where Christian actually wins the TNA Impact titles.
Oh no, I haven't.
That was I think it was on the first Rampage.
Okay. I'm realizing a lot of my takes they probably sound stupid just because I haven't watched anything leading up to All Out.
Trust me, I haven't watched a whole lot, just maybe recently, and that's why I have a little bit more. And not now, Carla changed our cable package, so I don't have TNT anymore. So that might change.
Oh man, are you salty? You sounded salty at that.
No, not really, because I didn't take advantage when I had the chance. Like I had cable for over a year and never started watching until recently. But yeah, like that first match was amazing. I truly enjoyed that. It was like a 20-minute match, I think.
Okay.
It was great. But yeah, like from this match, I honestly don't remember much. I just remember the ending, and like I called it, but I jokingly called it because I told Carl, I'm like, oh yeah, Adam Cole's he's gonna go and hug them. He's not gonna turn their backs on them. And I'm like, nah, what would be cool if it's Daniel Bryan who comes out, but I don't even know if that makes sense. And sure enough, that's how it played out. But then I forgot about what I had thought. My first thought was like, why is he wearing a white shirt? But
the gear.
But it was a fun. It was a fun show, man. Like it was worth the pay-per-view buy. Just with for that cage match alone.
Yeah,
like the rest of it was icing on the cake.
It really, that's a perfect way to put it. That cage match is honestly worth it. Here's what I'm slightly worried about. Once again, I'm not like complaining, because I really love the competition. I really love it feels like they're lighting a fire underneath WWE's ass, and I love that. And we need competition in this world.
So much that the NXT logo changed.
Yeah, I'll never watch NXT again, probably, unfortunately. I'm slightly worried that, because if you look at this card, it just seems like there's a lot of spots on this card that could have been taken up by other types of talent.
So that's where, like, I mean, I want to see where this goes, because they keep signing big names.
Keep signing. Yep, exactly. Keep signing more people.
And it's like, okay, where does that leave the rest of the roster? How do you shake things around so nobody gets left behind?
Right. Where's the point where they stop signing people and they're like, we're full?
What I had not thought about, and I actually saw a clip before we started recording, is that on tonight's Dynamite, I want to assume it was tonight's Dynamite, or they're Taz and CM Punk were going at it at the mic, and I'm a huge Taz fan. Like, I love his work on the mic. And I don't know if it was a good segment or not, because I think you had some people talking about it and that didn't make much sense. But just having them two go at it on the mic, I automatically became excited, because behind Taz, there's a group of young guys, including his son, who can actually then it's like, okay, then you might line up those young guys against Punk.
Is he still with Cage? Is Brian Cage still on the roster?
I believe so. I
see, he wasn't on the show 100%. At all.
He was not on the show at all. But I know it's Taz's son and some other big guy. I can't recall his name, of course.
Because they're signing all these big names, and you had Christian in the main event, and you had Big Show taking up an entire match. And like, I just don't want them to forget about all the indie guys they signed at the beginning. That it was like, okay, these is their indie guys' chance to be on TNT. I want them to have spots on the card,
Like we just said earlier, Lee Moriarty just got signed, right? Fuego del Sol just got signed, like officially signed. So it's like, we know that these are not right off the back main eventers.
No.
But how are you going to utilize them and not leave them forgotten enough on the wayside? Make sure you utilize them. But then also they have a lot of content, out there. Like, not
that's
just,
true. That's what the real Jeremy Zah was telling me,
yeah.
Is that they use all of their shows to work in all of these people. So I guess maybe for your all outs, that's when you're really competing with WWE, and you can bring in larger.
But that's
names,
a downside that I don't think. I mean, as maybe because I am not a diehard AEW fan, I enjoy their work and I like watching, but there's no way I'm gonna watch all of their shows. So do I then kind of figure out who's on what roster type of thing? Like, I don't think that's how they're working, but it's like, you just can't consume it all, and you are still growing your roster. So as a fan, how do how do people get over the younger people that might not be on these main shows? Like, how do they get onto the main show and get themselves over? Like, because we still have people like Sammy Guevara who've been consistently on top and in the mid.
Sammy Guevara is a good example. I think Sonny Kiss is a great example. Like, when they were signed, it was like, okay, these guys can be like these people can be like 2 matches away from the main event on like an all out. But now they weren't even on the card because more people were signed. So I'm just saying, like, that, like, I'm not trying to sound like a dick here. And like, I'm really excited for AEW's future because I love the competition. But like, those early initial people that were signed, I hope they don't just toss them to the wayside for these new people.
It's a little bit of of us not being avid watchers every week,
I agree.
Throughout every show.
That's fair.
But also because we've seen these guys in small arenas, in smaller shows, that is like, great, congrats, you're signed. Now we worry that we don't want you to be forgotten. So
and maybe they don't care. Maybe like, maybe working AEW Dark and getting paid that is like is fine with them. That's fine.
It's part of the road to the top, sure. But like, I guess that's just the fan in us was like, let's make sure these guys are being used, and
Yeah.
And people actually get to see their talent.
Right, exactly. It just feels like it's getting crowded. And those people that we've seen at the Logan Square Auditorium, I don't want them to be forgotten by people that were used to work for WWE. Although the people that used to work for WWE are great wrestlers. So
Bray Wyatt coming in hot.
See, there's another one. Like Kevin Owens tweets out the latitude, longitude of Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, yeah.
That's another one. Like if you were to like sign those two people,
then
they might have been on. They might be in the
um,
next All Out. That then there moves two other
Right.
people. Like,
and isn't that just Kevin Owens, right? Apparently, the rumor is that Sami Zayn as well.
I don't see why not. Shit, like it's an actual uprising. Like I hope Vince is scared. I hope he stops. Just relinquish your power, and you've made us smile so many times. Your legacy is intact. Like,
and they weren't far away. Like, you know, when we started doing this, NXT was the pinnacle. Like, we would not miss that show for anything. Like,
yeah.
So wrestling landscape is changing.
It's changing. It's really shifting right now. I'm happy to be a part of it and just be a fan. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool overall. That was just my one takeaway, and I don't want to be negative. So we'll just have to monitor that and see.
On that note,
see what happens.
I think we wrap it up.
We've been talking too much.
Shows that are upcoming that we need to look forward to? Just right quick. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I don't have that in front of me.
No, you're good. I got them. If this comes out before September 10th. Freelance Wrestling returns to Logan Square Auditorium, or you can watch them on. Sorry, we might have said it was on Fight earlier. It might be it was on Fight or it's on IWTV, one of those. So sorry if we messed that up. The Freelance returns to Logan Square Auditorium.
That's this Friday.
This Friday.
Oof. Okay.
Chris is like, oh, I promise you, it's how we go get ice cream.
Let's do it.
I won't be there, but it's the return to LSA. October 23rd, tickets are almost sold out. Monix versus Kylie. Monix's last match. We're gonna raffle off 2 tickets. We'll probably do it closer to the show. But follow us on Twitter at the number 2 Heels in a Face. And if the ticket, I'm not saying don't rely on us to win. Don't rely on you winning the raffle. Buy the tickets to that.
Get them while you can.
Get them while you can.
If you end up being like Christian and not getting bookies tickets, then rely on us for the raffle.
Yes. If you can't get the bookies. 1 second. Freelance Underground. Freelance Underground they have one ticket link and all their shows are in it. It's so easy. It's the easiest way. Go to their Twitter. It's in their bio. Dirty Deeds. Freelance Underground goes to Thornton, Illinois. Illinois.
That's the distillery.
The distillery. And that is on September 25th.
Oh, add that to the calendar. That's a Saturday.
I believe so.
All right.
It is a Saturday. Thornton, Illinois. I don't know where that is. It's probably south of you.
I think it's south.
Not far. Not too far.
It shouldn't be too far from me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll hold you over. If honestly, the best way to find out when people are running is to go to their Twitter.
So Freelance Underground Twitter is freelance URNDR GR. I don't know.
If you just type in Freelance Underground, you'll see it. Don't type in the handle. Yep. Anything else? JLM. I have tickets to one night. Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament. Excuse me. Don't forget the T. JLMT.
JLMT. When is that happening?
Late October.
Late October. Okay. I don't have much.
29th maybe. 29th, 30th.
Sounds right.
29th, 30th. Yes, they have 2 nights of that, 29th, 30th, and then they have a day show on the 30th too. So there's 3 shows in that weekend for AEW Pro. And then October 1st, they have a show as well.
Got to reach out to Trent. Are they going to do trading cards this year?
I honestly have 2 packs, I think, of trading cards, and I haven't opened them yet. I don't know why. It's not like they're gonna be like worth amount of baseball cards, but
I'm sure. I mean, there's a DJC card in there. Might be worth something.
That's true. Maybe it could.
I mean, can we get I mean, if they're listening, which why would they? But I mean, ref Nate Speckman deserves a trading card in that pack.
I think so. I think the refs deserve one.
Perch has earned his. Like I'm just saying, refs
and then some
a card,
and then some. Yep. So yeah, it's out there. It's out there. You guys can find it. Warrior Wrestling is bringing in Bret Hart. I don't know when that show is.
Oh, that's right. Sweet 16. So that's like on the 16th of
10/16.
October?
Yep, October 16th. Is there Sweet 16th? Their 16th show? No.
Maybe
they had that many shows. No, I mean, they haven't. There's no way. There's no way they've had that many shows.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just because it's the 16th and
yeah. Oh, maybe it's their birthday.
No, their birthday is my birthday.
Your birthday is your birthday.
Yeah, we share birthdays,
Okay. Thunder Rosa is their women's champion. Shout out.
Mm-hmm. Is Trey Miguel still their champion?
Trey Miguel still the champion according to warriorwrestling.net. So that'll be fun.
All right. So check out warriorwrestling.net.
Oh, Buddy Matthews, formerly Buddy Murphy from 205 Live and NXT. Looks like he's coming to that show. So GPA is going to be at Warrior Wrestling because he'll probably want to meet Brett.
Absolutely. Oh, and the Lucha champion, Aramis.
Correct. He looks cool.
So, yeah, hopefully if I make it, that'll be the day I'll shell out some money for my next mask.
Aramis mask, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean,
first.
There are upcoming shows for sure. So, I mean, if anything else fails, make sure to follow Two Heels in a Face on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Charlie's always retweeting and posting upcoming events from our local promotions and some. So don't miss out on that. You can also check out twoheelsintheface.com to check out our past episodes, other articles. Charlie just recently released an article, right?
Yes, it is some of our favorite episodes. There's 10 episodes. They're mostly evergreen content. They're interviews, not show recaps. If you've missed one, go check it out. It's just a lot of different people that we've talked to. Not all of our favorites. So if you don't see your episode in there, if you're on an episode, don't feel bad. But just some of our favorites. It's under blog posts at twoheelsontheface.com.
Just kind of doing a small recap of the past 4 years as we come closer, probably an episode or two episodes away from 200.
Are we?
I believe so.
We should do something.
That's what we say.
Jessica Havoc, Chico Suave, who's going to return to the ring soon. I talked to him at Brunch. Danger Mask, Laney Luck and GPA, Sarah Joy Shockey, Pat Monix, the most recent one we did where he talks about his injuries and his last match. Mr. Kate Blair, Onyx, and Cora Jade, formerly known as Elena Black, the besties in the world, Kirby the Voice, and Isaiah Velasquez. So if you're interested in hearing any of those people speak, twoheelsintheface.com.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us up, Charlie. Outside of people making sure that when they see this episode, retweet it and make sure you hashtag Viva La Chico.
Yep. Hashtag Viva La Chico. He'll be back in the ring soon. Can't wait for it. Hashtag Viva La Danger. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
All right. Thanks.